Today we're going to learn Mem Bais. Starting Mem Bais and Mem Bais. Today's daf is Mem Gimel. We're starting Mem Bais on the top. We're starting from Ki Hada Hayra Rabbi Lazar. Actually, it's supposed to be corrected on the side. It says Ki Hada Hayra Rabbi Lai. Maybe the end of the last piece. What we said was, really we were discussing a statement of Rav Chisda. Where Rav Chisda said, really this is going back to three opinions in the Mishnah, regarding a tumtum and androgynous that's of a bechar, a firstborn animal. The first opinion was tumtum and androgynous is a suffix. Therefore, you can't sacrifice it you can't slaughter it as a sacrifice. But you also can't take it home and slaughter it outside as a non-sacrifice, because it's not necessarily a mum. That's the first opinion. Then we had the opinion of Rabbi Shmuel that says, what do you mean it's not a mum? That's the biggest mum possible. But what Rabbi Shmuel is also telling us at the same time is that it's considered a bechar. Then we have the last opinion. It's called Rabbanan Basroi. The last opinion, they say, ain't a bechar. It's not a bechar at all. So we have the three opinions there. Want to come sit with us?
I'll leave it for the guys that are...
No, you're the most important.
David,
Let me boost your confidence. You're one of us.
I understand why this chart says Bechor in all respects, but that's not what you just said on the third one.
Sages of because this is the Bryson. Then we'll go to the Bryson in a second.
Okay.
I'll go to the Bryson. That was in the Mishnah.
Okay.
That was in the Mishnah. Then if you notice that last one that says Eina Bechar, that last opinion that says Eina Bechar, the sages' opinion, it's not a Bechar at all. They say it's considered nothing if it's a tumtum or androgynous. It's not a Bechar. The Rav Chisda comes along and says he only meant to say it's not a Bechar, it's not a firstborn animal. It needs to be a firstborn male animal, and here the gender is undetermined. It's a hermaphrodite or androgynous. So he's only talking about the androgynous, that it's definitely not considered a male because that's its own type. It's not a doubt if it's male or female. It's its own type. But a tumtum, which is a doubt because there's a skin that's growing over the genitals, so then that they never said that that's real. That's a real doubt. That's a real doubt. That could be actually a bechar. That's Rav Chisda's opinion, even though it doesn't look like that from the Mishnah, that the sages are only talking about androgynous. But nevertheless, that's Rav Chisda's opinion. Now we said that we had a brisa. The brisa says that the opinion of Rabbi Lai in the name of Rabbi Shmuel, it's a different Rabbi Lai. Rabbi Lai in the name of Rabbi Shmuel, that androgynous is a bechar with a mum. The Chachamim say, this is in the chart, the sages say that it's not a bechar. And Reb Shimon ben Yehuda says in the name of Reb Shimon that it has to be excluded from the pasuk. It's excluding, the pasuk excludes tumtum and androgynous, which means that even a tumtum, according to Reb Shimon, is its own species. That's what we said. So then we wanted to say that maybe the machlekes of Shimon and the sages is regarding tumtum, if tumtum is its own species or if tumtum is a doubt. We responded to that no. We said everyone agrees that a tumtum is not its own species. A tumtum is just a regular doubt, and we divide it up like this. Depends if it urinates as a male, then it's definitely a male. If it urinates as a female, then it's a question of maybe it's really a male that it's like inverted or something, or do we say that no, it's definitely a female? That's how.
Credit card also.
Oh, you send them to the mall. Okay.
You're giving me trouble with that.
So, kiha, they say if someone is pregnant, they say, if I'm not having a boy or a girl, you ask them to put their hands out. The mother, put your hands out. If they put it out like this, it means one thing. Put it out, I don't know which one it means. It's like, for some reason, they say that. Okay. So you have to ask the mother to put out your paw, and then you can see what's the following going to be. Ki hada hayra Rabbi Lazar, or Rabbi Eily, bebehema matal mayim b'makom nakvus is chulin. Similar to what Rabbi Eily said, that if an animal urinates like a female, then it's chulin. Chulin, it's a mundane animal. Why? It's not a bechor, because a bechor needs to be a male. So here, this is the examination. Even though it's a tumtum, you can't really tell if it's a male or a female, but you can tell how it urinates. So that's considered a female. So the Gemara asks, one second, Rabbi Yochanan asks about this. And his question is that this doesn't fit with the opinions. It says, Tohi bar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan wondered, was astonished about this. Manda lechosh letanakama ul Rabbi Yishmael. Look at what Rabbi Eily just said. He said that this animal is definitely a female. One second. The Tanakama said that a tumtum is a suffix. Rabbi Yishmael said that it has a mum, it's a male. So what is he saying? He's just ignoring these major opinions. And the Gemara asks on Rabbi Yochanan, B'leim Rabbi Yochanan nami mandalechash l'Rabbanan Basrai. Rav Chizda learned the Rabbanan Basrai, the last opinion, that they hold that tumtum as a suffix, male or female.
Basrai is the sages of the Bais?
No. Rabbanan Basrai is the last opinion of the Mishnah.
In this little chart.
In the chart, let me see. The sages would say
Tanakama of Mishnah, sages of the Mishnah probably be Basrai.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The Tanakh. Okay.
So there's Tanakama of the Mishnah.
Okay. So the problem is that Rabbi Yochanan is astonished that Rabbi Eily says that this is a female. The problem is that Tanakama holds that it's a suffix. Rabbi Yishmael holds that it's a male, and the last opinion, it depends. If I follow Rav Chizda, then it's also a suffix. Because Rav Chizda's claim was that the whole machlokes, what is the last opinion saying? Only about an androgynous. They say that it's an androgynous is considered its own species, but about a tumtum, that they hold as a suffix. The tumtum wasn't part of this discussion. So if I accept Rav Chizda, then Rabbi Yochanan should have said, "Who's this person that ignores the Tanakama? He ignores Rabbi Yishmael and he ignores Rav Chizda, but he left out that. And he ignores the Rabbanan Basrai, according to Rav Chizda. But he left out that last point. So the Gemara is asking, why doesn't Rabbi Yochanan say that? The Amar Rav Chizda, machlekes pandregnes, aval betumtum divrei kol sveika. Everyone agrees that it's a suffix. And Rabbi Eily was ignoring that opinion. He ignored all three opinions. The Gemara responds, Rabbi Yochanan is really the Rav Chizda. Rabbi Yochanan didn't hold the Rav Chizda. Now the Gemara gets itself into a mess, because if Rabbi Yochanan is surprised that Rabbi Eily is ignoring all three opinions, then that's a problem. But if Rabbi Eily is only ignoring two opinions, and the other opinion he's not ignoring, so then I have the answer. He goes like the other opinion. So we asked on Rabbi Yochanan, why were you surprised that Rabbi Eily is ignoring two out of the three opinions? And you explain that the last opinion, which is really, he's ignoring also, that's only according to Rav Chizda, and Rabbi Yochanan doesn't hold the Rav Chizda. Well, guess what? That's my answer. He's ignoring those two opinions because he goes like the other opinion. That's not a kasha. So, V'leima Rabbi Yochanan nami... Okay, I'm sorry. The Gemara says, Rabbi Yochanan Svirlei de Rav Chizda. The Gemara says, Eily Svirlei, if he doesn't hold of him, so Leimu Hudamar Karabanan Basrai. So just say that, what's the question? He holds like the later opinion, the last opinion, which says that it's a female, or not that it's a female, that it's its own species, its own barrier. Tumtum and androgynous is its own species, and it's not a bechor. The Gemara says hachinami kamar. That's exactly what the question was. Man shavik trei vavid kachad. Who's the one that's ignoring the two opinions and following only the individual opinion? Okay. Now the Gemara says, Rabbi Eily Kaman Sabra. Who does Rabbi Eily hold like? It's an interesting question because we sort of just explained. But the Gemara goes on. Kihad Amar Reish Lakish. Similar to what Reish Lakish says. Lo Amru, I guess what the Gemara wants to say is, how could Rabbi Eily himself ignore the two opinions and follow the individual? Rabbi Eily should have followed the majority. So we go to Reish Lakish and we say that we quote Reish Lakish, Lo Yamru Tumtum Safik Ela Ba'adam. Only by a human is a tumtum considered a suffix. You can't tell if it's a male or a female. So we say, yeah, we don't know if it's a male or female. Because the male and the female, the male organ, the female, it's in the same area. And now there's a skin that's covering it, so you can't tell. But by an animal, if it urinates like a male, then it's a zachar. Matal b'makom nekeva, and it's nekeva. By an animal, we don't have the same doubt that we would have as by a male. By an animal, we don't have the same doubt that we would have by a human. And by an animal, we can actually determine by the way it urinates. Maskif la Rabbi Shia. Rabbi Shia has a question. We're looking at this animal, and we're saying that if it urinates like a male, it's a male. If it urinates like a female, it's a female. But how do you know that everything else, that everything inside this animal is normal? I mean, there is an abnormality in this animal. It doesn't mean that just because this is happening. I mean, once one thing goes wrong, it could be that there's other things inside that are not exactly 100% male or female.
Like for me, so for a human, couldn't you tell from other things if it's a female or a male?
I guess that would just be hormonal and wouldn't matter, like the breasts or something like that. That probably wouldn't determine 100%. That could be hormonal also. It's not physiological, right? The Gemara, Rabbi asks, someone else has to explain this. I don't know exactly what this means. Maybe the male was turned into the female. What does that mean? What does that mean?
We're way ahead of time. I think it means that the ureter, which is the tubes that are carrying the urine from the kidneys to the outside, the position of the male organ is going back towards where the possible female organ is coming, and therefore it's coming out in one place. It looks like it's maybe coming from the male, but the male organ was turned around towards the
Looks like it's coming from the female, but it's just that the male organ was behind it.
Yeah.
So what the Gemara is asking is that maybe it looks
it's really
like
a male, but the organ was
turned around.
and it looks like it's coming from the female, but it's not. It's really still a male.
It's really a male. So the Gemara is asking that just because
These pictures are like way beyond it.
oh, it went
I
off.
don't see
It went off.
Probably better off.
Forget it.
All right,
Tomorrow.
forget it.
Tomorrow.
Oh, wait.
Tomorrow.
Forget. I got.
It's meant to be for a reason.
Oh, give me a break. I'm trying to match what he's telling me.
So
No, it's just a joke.
okay.
No, because you're saying the cow. It's like, I don't understand what you're saying.
I told you it's coffee.
Okay.
Oh, no.
So Amar Lei, he says,
We're behind.
"Come on, who are you going like? You're a mayor, the Chayish Lamuta. You're concerned. There's one opinion. Usually, in the Torah, all the rules of the Torah, we follow the majority. Except for one opinion, Reb Meir, he holds that you have to always suspect for the minority. So, Reb Meir's opinion was brought out in different Gemaras, but one of them that has to do with, you don't know if a child to do Yibum, but Yibum can only be done by a child that's able to procreate. You don't know if this child is going to be a eunuch because he hasn't matured yet. You don't know what he's going to grow up. So normally that would be an abnormality, something that usually doesn't happen. So the sages would say, oh, you don't have to worry about that. But Rabbi Meir says, no, you have to worry about everything, even though it's not. So Rabbi Meir is chayish l'miyuta. So here what we're saying is that Rabbi is saying, how do you know that just because the way it urinates, you should be able to determine? Maybe there's other problems inside that are very abnormal, but maybe we should have to suspect of that. So the Gemara says, oh, you're going to go like Rabbi Meir? Abaya barovin Rav China barami barovin damir tavaya fil timer rabbanan. No, this is not necessarily the opinion of Rabbi Meir. Hayil v'ishtani ishtani. It could really be the rabbanan, but normally we would never suspect of such a thing, that that it's really a male, but it's just inverted. The urine's coming out from the area that looks like a female. That's normally I would never think that. And if that would happen, that would be like 1 in a million. But here, because of there's already abnormalities, then I have to suspect of this as well. Another Gemara says, Ista amr ishtani, v'ista amr lo ishtani. There's a machlekes regarding once there is already one change, do we say that there's more changes going on? Is it saying, I think what it's saying is that Abaya bar Oven and Rav China bar Oven are arguing about this. I think that's what it means to say. No. They both say, both Abaya bar Oven and Rav China bar Oven both say that once there's a change, you can already suspect that there's more changes. However, the Tanakama says that you don't suspect of this. And Rabbi Lazar, it's not Rabbi Lazar, it's Rabbi Loi, that goes follows like Reb Shimon, does hold this. So Rabbi Loi said, Rabbi Loi said that a tumtum we consider a female. That's because he holds Rabbi Eily that holds a tumtum is considered a female because the urine is coming as a female. You don't have to suspect that maybe it's really a male and it's just some other problem there. You don't have to suspect of that. And the other opinion that said that you do have to suspect of that, that's because even though it's urinating like a female, but you have to suspect of the more problem. Once there's already this problem, you have to suspect that it's really a male as well. Now the Gemara suggests, Lema ishtani v'le ishtani tanai. This issue, that normally we follow the majority. In the majority of cases, if it's urinating like a male, it's a male like a female, like a female. That would be. However, there could be a minority that's different. Could be there's a minority that's different. Do we have to suspect that once we have these abnormalities, that we have to suspect every sort of thing? You know, in the hospital, they suspect every issue. Once there's one thing wrong, they start doing tests. You spend days there, like, well, we have to check for that, so let's check for this and that and all of the things.
But you know why?
Because they'll get sued if they. I'm pointing at you. You're pointing at him. So, and that has to do with Hayil Vishtani Yashtani. Look, you came into the hospital. There was something wrong, right? So it could be, once there's something wrong, could be we don't know what else is wrong. So, and the other opinion says, look, I came for one thing. Why are you checking my potassium level? That wasn't, or whatever. Okay. So, maybe this is Machlekes Tanaim. The Tanya was taught in a Bais. Tumtum Shakidish. This is an interesting case. You have a doubt, a question on the person's gender. He goes ahead and he marries a woman. He gives her a ring. So, Kedusha of Kedusha. You don't know if he's a male or female. we suspect that it's a valid kedushin, that he's a male and he's married. Niskadish. Let's say someone comes along and gives her, or it, or he, a ring, right? We don't know his gender. So a man comes along and gives this person of doubtful gender. It says, Kedusha of Kedushin. The tumtum is considered married. Chayletz v'choltzen li'ishtei. Let's say this person had a brother that was married, that died without children. This tumtum, that's considered possibly a brother or a sister, this tumtum is allowed to do chalitza. Now let's say that this tumtum, as if he's a male. Now let's say that this tumtum is married, and the tumtum dies. What about the brother coming to do yibam to his wife? Was he actually married? Or there could be another issue there, that maybe because he wasn't able to procreate, you don't establish the family of the brother. There's that other issue. To establish the family of the brother, you're right, that's the yibam. Yibam is the levirate marriage. For the person dies, the husband dies, the brother comes in to reestablish that name. But that would only be if he would be able to have children, not if you really. So here, miyabin li'ishta, you do yibam on this person's wife, even though we don't know if he was able to have children. B'tanya yidach, we have another brisa. Eishes tumtum, the wife of a tumtum, that means the tumtum was married to this woman and the tumtum dies. Chayletzes v'leimus yabemes. You can't do yibam on her. The brothers don't come in and marry her.
When was it discovered that this person is a tumtum? Before his first marriage, after, during?
The whole time. It was clear he's a tumtum. The whole time he was a tumtum. You're asking how did he get married?
Right.
Well, we're saying that there was a doubt there on the marriage, but he was married.
Well, all the previous cases said it's always
Yeah.
kedushin. So
Yeah.
in all those
No,
situations,
what I'm implying is the fact that he got married proves that he is a male. The fact that he was allowed to get married proves that he
Kedushin
was
is
a male.
Kedushin. Yeah, if everybody agrees as Kedushin was Kedushin. We're typhus.
If he got married, and
That's
later
what we
on
said in the
discovered-
brisa.
It's funny that nobody doubts that.
We say it's kedushin l'chomer. That means if they want to get divorced, they need a get. It means we don't say that, oh, that was nothing. That wasn't
What's
a...
the chumrah in Yibum?
So now yibum is that, let's say the marriage was good. So now this fellow passed away. So really all the brothers, if there was no marriage, if there was no marriage there, then all the brothers can just get married to whoever, and this woman can just get married to whoever. But if that was a real marriage, then the brothers have to do yibum, and this woman cannot just go marry an outsider. They need to first resolve that issue.
Isn't there a problem with our rights? The only reason you're allowed to marry your sister-in-law is because
That's right.
Because the Yibum issue.
That's right.
So
Now,
if-
to avoid that issue,
So-
what we say is like to avoid that issue, we say miman of. Look, could be this fellow was really a female. He was never married to this woman. She was never married to this woman, right? Because that's not a marriage. So now, what's the concern? The concern is that maybe the brothers are going to come in and marry this woman that was never married to their brother or sister. If he was a male,
Right.
then there was a marriage, then they have to do it. If they weren't married, then it's not a problem anyway. Right? Okay.
Where's pictures?
Savrua, here's the logic here. The Gemara thinks you have to adjust this, but the point is the same whether we adjust it or not. The Shita Mikvetz is changing it. The Shita Mikvetz is changing it. My love, is it not? The Kuli Alma Rabbi Akiva, that everyone holds like Rabbi Akiva. The Amar, that he says, Shischama, Leicheletz V'lei Niyabin. Rabbi Akiva's opinion is, correct me if this is not correct, it's quoting from another Gemara. Rabbi Akiva's opinion is that someone that was born sterile, someone that was born that he can't he won't be able to procreate. When he gets married, you don't have to, if he gets married and he dies, you don't establish that house by the brother coming in and marrying his wife. So we say that everyone holds like Rabbi Akiva here. In my love, now we had two brises. One brisa says that you do yibam, one brisa says you don't do yibam for this guy when he passes away to his wife. The one that says that you can only do, that says chayletz, that he does chalitza and his wife does chalitza. I mean, Yavmin says you can also do yibam. We say, look, we know that this guy had a gender, we didn't know what his gender was, but that doesn't mean that he was sterile. We know that there was a problem there, but just because there's one problem doesn't mean that he has all the other problems. The one that says you can only do chalitza, you can't do yibam. We say, look, there was one abnormality, so let's say that there were others as well, and he was sterile. He was what's the word? What's the word that they use for this hama? Hama, it means a eunuch. Naturally, a eunuch whose condition is caused naturally from birth. So we say that he probably was. He probably had this problem as well. He was probably a eunuch. The Gemara says no. In other words, we're trying to look for, maybe it's a machlekes tanoim if we say hoyel ve'ishtani ishtani. In other words, once there was one abnormality, we'll think that there's more. The Gemara says, like the kuli alma amrina and hoyel ve'ishtani ishtani. Everyone holds of this. And the difference is, Rabbi Eily, is that how they're saying it? Rabbi Eily v'Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Lazar. Oh, they have Rabbi Lazar because they didn't edit it. Okay. Rabbi Lazar or Rabbi Akiva.
When they say Hadar Shtani Ishtani, is the primary Ishtani the question of the androgynous or tumtum, or perhaps something else, like the person has a congenital defect, there's no, it's so obvious. So then this question now of androgynous, whatever you say, the fact that, like, as was just double checking, like Down syndrome, right? It's obvious, right? Women with Down syndrome can have children.
They can?
Most men with Down syndrome are sterile. I thought it was 100%, it says most. So, the question would be there, if the person also had some, questionable area there, what I was asking is, Hadar Shtani Ishtani, are you saying, because there's something else there? Or does it start from the other thing?
No, I think it's, once there's one issue, do we say that there may be another issue as well?
But which is the primary issue?
The primary is
the tumtum.
The tumtum.
Okay.
That we know about. Do we suspect that maybe he's also a eunuch, just because he has that? Now, even though being a eunuch is something that's statistically is not, it's going to be a majority, right? It's going to be a small minority. But because in this person, we're not going to put him in the full statistics of the world. We're going to give him his own, and we're going to say, there's once there's one change, then it could be the others. We make a different category, then it would be interesting.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So if it was a Down person with a question, now
then
the majority of those males would be sterile. So
that's a good question. The question is, do we say hoyel ve'ishtani ishtani means that now I make my statistics, who I'm dealing with, just with these type of people, and then I now have a majority? Or do I still use the world statistics and say that no, it's a minority? That may be what the Gemara is doing. Okay, so we said before that Rabbi Eily holds that a tumtum is definitely a nekeva, definitely a nekeva, and now what's Rabbi Akiva? No, Rabbi Elazar, Rabbi Akiva. The question is if it's a sris, if it's a eunuch, if he's allowed to do yiva. Uman Tana Aliba de Rabbi Akiva. Who's the Tana that goes according to Rabbi Akiva? Eily Rabbi Yehuda, that says that you do chalitza. Rabbi Akiva would say that you can only do chalitza and not yibam. because a eunuch can't do, you don't do yibam on a eunuch's right. Eily Rabbi Yehuda. If you say it's Rabbi Yehuda Havadai, Sris Mashvilai. If it's Rabbi Yehuda holds that it's definitely a eunuch. The Tanan, Rabbi Yehuda Imer Tumtum Shenikra V'Nimtza Zachar Harisa Leyachlet Neshu Kasaris. He says that if a tumtum is determined at a certain point, the skin is removed, and you see that he was actually a male. He should not do chalitza, because who's allowed to do chalitza? Only someone that can establish the family. And because he's considered a eunuch, he's definitely a eunuch according to Rabbi Yehuda, he can't do chalitza either. Ella Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda, must be Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda. It sounds like Rabbi Yehuda's son. The Tanya, Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda Aimer, Tumtum loy cholet shema yikra v'nimtzas rishama. Maybe he's a eunuch. So that's why there could be that you can do chalitza. Now here we have a little bit of an issue, because the wording of Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Yehuda is loy choletz. You don't do chalitza. We're using this opinion to tell us that you do chalitza. The opinion that says loy choletz, but because the reason why you don't do chalitza is because maybe he's a eunuch. That maybe is what's telling us that you really do chalitza. So why do you say you don't do chalitza?